16 away from 9 on your Friday morning. Flag football is a minority sport, but growing in popularity both around the world and here in our own backyard. It'll be included in the Olympics for the first time in LA in 2028, and we have a team determined to represent. Mike Fabella is the head coach of the New Zealand national flag football and joins me at the desk, and we're just having a look at some pictures. So a little bit like gridiron?
Yeah, it's a little bit like gridiron, just a smaller, faster version of it. But yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to talk about it. We've got players that are just fizzing to get on the field, and we compete in 4 weeks.
Okay, tell us about the difference. Let's take rugby as a comparison.
Sure.
How does it compare? What's different?
Oh, I mean, it's the equivalent in a way to touch or rip a rugby. So it's, we've got normal fields, but for us, it's going to be a smaller field. So if you've watched traditional gridiron, you've watched a lot of NFL, you notice they've got all the pads and the gear and things like that. Flag football essentially started out as a more cost-effective and safer version to play, right? So you can play it at a much younger age. I'm originally from, the LA area and in California, and so we were 6 years old with helmets on and probably hitting each other too young of an age. And flag football, I wish we would have had that around that same age, because you get to learn the fundamentals of football without all the kind of physical kind of beating that you take in gridiron. But yeah, essentially it is 5v5 for flag football, 40-minute half. So instead of a 3-hour long game that you're watching on ESPN, it's a shorter game, but it's fast-paced, similar to basketball. 5 on attack, 5 on defense, and then essentially you've got 4 plays to try to make halfway and 4 plays to score if you do make halfway. And then essentially, if you've watched NFL or gridiron before, once someone catches the ball, in order to tackle someone, you just pull one of the flags and then you're down at that point. So,
okay, yeah. And how, in terms of the field size, how does that compare?
Yeah, so usually in gridiron, it's about 100 yards in length and then 50 yards in width. And then for us, we're about 70-yard field in length with 25 on each half of the field to score, 10-yard end zones, and then the width is about 25. So it's a smaller field, but it allows for that smaller group of 5-on-5.
Why is it growing in popularity? Is it because of the injury factor, the potential in other sports?
Yeah, I think the potential to reduce injury, it's similar to basketball. You're still going to get banged up a little bit. It happens by accident. But when you look at the type of injuries that are sustained with concussions or just any type of injury, you can come back from an ACL or anything like that and still play. The longevity of flag football, I mean, you've got the American women's quarterback playing at 40 years old, right, representing the USA, and the Intercontinentals in Panama a few weeks ago. And it's a fun game to play. It's not super expensive. You get your boots, you get your shorts, shirt, and your tags, and you're out playing on the field.
It looks fun to play, but how is it as a spectator sport? Because, you look at boxing and then you look at, MMA, which is going the other way, and that's really popular, right?
Yeah.
Do people watch this and sort of, you're kind of waiting for that big crunch?
Yeah.
It never happens?
Yeah. I think the crunches sometimes by accident do happen, and we're trying to, limit those crunches. But ultimately, I think it's become really fun for the fans because of the fast pace. When you watch gridiron, there's a lot of really stop-start, and there's a 30 to 40-second play clock and formations and all this stuff to where the game is sped up quite a bit. So you are getting a big basketball flow of back and forth, and it is quite exciting. And from a team perspective, there's not a lot of mistakes you can make. If you get down behind 1 or 2 scores, that almost is it because of the short amount of time you have. Right. So the fast pace is just growing, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Are we any good? Are we actually going to get to the Olympics here?
Yeah, listen, I think we're really good, and I'm not just biased. I think we have a lot of really good athletes. We, fell a little bit short in the Intercontinentals in Malaysia 2 years ago. We got silver, lost to Thailand at the last second, and then we found out where we were at the world stage in Finland last year, and we're this close. And so we've got some returning players this year that are going to represent New Zealand and China, which we go to Ningbo in 4 weeks to compete for our Intercontinental Championships, and that's our World Cup qualifier in Germany next year, and that's part of the Olympic, essentially how we get there.
So you've got the qualifiers in Germany in 2026?
So in order to get to the Olympics in Los Angeles 2028, you have the next 3 years of this sport is really crucial for every country. You either are going to get left behind or you're going to be able to sprint with the pack. And essentially what it looks like is for the next year, or this year, there's different continentals. One in Egypt, Panama, Asia Oceania is going to be in China, and Panama was the Americas. And so you essentially win a bid by your placing in your region to the World Cups. The World Championships are in Germany. You make it to the World Championships in Germany and place well there. That's basically solidifies your world ranking. And then from there, you have one more year of intercontinentals in 27 to qualify for the Olympics.
Few hoops to jump through, yeah.
Few hoops to jump through, but I think we've got a good group to do some good things in the sport.
Well, I hope to see good things from you. Thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Good to see you. That is Mike Fabella, head coach of the New Zealand national flag football. It's just 11 minutes away from 9 now. You're watching Herald Now. Let's go to business.